year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really going to create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, It's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on Earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it. Whoa. What up, folks? Damn, it's nice to be a gangster. That's how I feel like right now. That just went through my head, man. Maddie, how you feeling? You excited?
I am excited. A little sleepy, been up a little bit, but I am definitely excited, no question.
I'm just excited I get to see Heliquin's beautiful face in the real, in the
Let's
flesh.
go.
Man, he looks good. He's a good looking
Yup.
dude. I didn't know what to expect, but
Hey.
blew it
Wait,
away
you have
from me. I mean, listen, you're
Is it the first time you see my face?
What?
Is it the first time you see my face?
I
Sure
think you
enough.
sent a picture of like you hanging out in London at a LLamaverse event, but like, yeah, man, you hadn't turned the video on for Maddie and I.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a
I
good
thought the
time
last
tonight.
time.
We're gonna have a fucking great time. Maddie, before we get into it, how you doing? How you feeling other than tired? Anything else to add?
Nah, man, good day, workout day. Clients were good. I mean, it's gonna be wild though. It has not snowed here yet, and I'm pretty sure I will move to Florida, and I will have an entire winter without snow, which has never happened before. I've never done that.
You just gotta move to Southern California and you'll feel the
I mean,
same thing.
I understand, but it's just it's a first. It's
Dude.
kind of like, oh wow, that's wild.
It's wild. The first Christmas here was insane because it's 70 degrees and sunny, and you're like, this just doesn't feel like Christmas, but you warm up to it. And you're moving to Florida. You're not going to see the snow ever again.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's kind of like, I was kind of a little part of me was hoping for maybe one last little, just 3-4 inches or something.
Yeah.
Just to be like, there it is. But I don't think it's gonna happen, man. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have an insane show tonight. Our boy Helle, we go back a ways. He's one of the first guests that were ever on this show when Maddie and I had no clue what we're doing. We have since grown. We've become an insanely professional organization. We put out video content. We're a marketing media company. We've got 21 people in chat. Chew, the LLamaverse rolls hard, baby. They roll hard. It's good to see all the llamas here. We have a PFP and a little rubber ducky on our head. We're excited to be part of the family, and we're going to have a good conversation. But before that, I just need to give Stargirl, thank you for being in chat. Sebs, Maddie, when's the last time we saw Sebs? I haven't seen that name.
Man. I have missed Sebs, and he missed. And it looks like Sebs missed the Twitch stream. So we're back. We're back. And you know who else I saw?
Who?
Look down the list on some of these names. There's some OGs in here.
Who else?
We got Fuck Codes.
We
just got back from deployment.
Fuck Codes is in. Hell yes.
Yeah,
good to see you, Fuck Codes. That's
Walrus
amazing.
is here.
Walrus is here. Good to see you, Walrus.
Good to see Sebs though.
You don't know where.
So long.
You don't know where Walrus comes from, do you?
I don't.
Walrus is head of community for Imaginary Ones. They've got a small little following, I heard.
Nice.
But we had a blast with them on the show last week. They were fantastic. But with that being said, thank you so much for everybody being here. We're gonna have a freaking blast. Just an intro to Helle. I met Helle and Llama when I was first core team of a project, a little project called Jolly Elves. It ended up being a rug because of our shithead buddy Justin. Not sure where he went, but he took all the money. And the beautiful thing that came out of that is Prada, Helle, and Llama, and all of that has since well over a year ago turned into some amazing NFT relationships. So from there, Helle came on our show. We've continued to talk throughout this entire time. I think you've been on a couple times in between. We actually had to change our Discord chat because of Helle, because we would be streaming and this son of a bitch would just pop in whenever the hell he wanted, not realizing that we were starting to formalize our show and bring guests on. So we'd have a guest and then all of a sudden, guess who's popping in, just saying hi.
Yeah. But to his credit though, when before, a lot of people, before the show, when we were streaming, it really was like that. People just hopped in or whatever, because we were still like gaming half the time,
Right,
so
right.
you never knew what we were going to be doing. So yeah, that was definitely a fun time. That did crack me up though. There'd be a couple times you'd be hanging out, Helle, you pop in and it was like, oh, okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
I think
one time I fell asleep. That was embarrassing as hell.
that happened too.
That was so embarrassing, dude. I was in Bulgaria at the time, and it was like 7 a.m. and I just sat on my sofa, and I think we were talking about some project, and then I just fell asleep, and I woke up in like panic, literal like sheer panic, because I was like, oh wait, I'm on a fucking stream, and then I realized that you guys just kicked me out of the room, and I was like, oh, fuck. I think I messaged you saying, oh dude, I'm so sorry for falling asleep.
That did happen. But hey, you know what?
Yeah, I think
we become
that was
friends.
pretty funny.
It's been really cool to see you grow over time. Always been just insanely impressed by your mindset for how young you were, and well, still are compared to us. And what we're gonna do is, even though you've been on a couple times, I think this is a good time for us to reset. We have a lot of new followers. We have this new format where we really want to get part of your background. You're going to be a little bit different because you've been on a couple times, so we know you a little bit, and you have so much to talk about with your project. But we're going to still kick it off, and we're going to go with the famous midlife crisis question, and that is, how did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? Please give us, and we're going to say Star Wars Episode 1. We can kind of skip 2, and then we'll go to 3, which is really your Web3 journey. So start us off as Helle, the little tyke, born in Bulgaria. I don't know. Is that where you're from?
Yeah. I'll give you the quick rundown. So, born and bred in Bulgaria in a small town. I think last consensus it was around 35,000 people. So not much, considering the fact that my later life, I grew up in London, where literally 2 square miles would cover that easily.
Right.
Like maybe more.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a city in the middle of kind of nowhere. But it was right below the mountain, and that kind of has imprinted on me. So I feel comfortable and I feel safe there. But yeah, so I grew up there from age 7-ish to 7 to 10. I spent my beginning of school life over there, and then my family, who wasn't doing, my family was doing okay. They weren't well off or anything. We were just kind of getting by, because Bulgaria is a pretty poor place. If people are not aware, Bulgaria is the poorest European country in the Union.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's actually, it's I think, no, it's 100% the poorest country, and I think the average salary is like a few €100 a month, which is not much at all. Anyway, so
That's
both my
water
parents
and bread,
really
bro.
work.
That ain't a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Both my parents really hard workers. I grew up looking after my younger sister. Like at age 6, 7, I was looking after like a toddler basically. But yeah, so my family looked beyond, I guess, and because Bulgaria is part of the Union, the European Union, obviously, we at the time had a chance to move to the UK. So at age 10, I got to the UK. I got to London, North London. We started off living in a pretty small place, and then slowly just got more and more financially stable. So yeah, my kind of from 10 to, I guess, 19, 20 was spent in London. School, then sixth form for university, doing odd jobs here and there, being interested in finance, in pretty much many things. So yeah, I got through that. I started university. Since the moment I turned 18, I got a job, part-time job, a full-time job around university. Started investing in stocks, bonds, Tesla. I did GameStop back in the day, which was pretty fun. GameStop got me my training for NFTs because I remember GameStop and I remember having a
GameStop.
decent amount of money in there. And I remember one day there was a 50% crash in a minute. And it was going like this. And I'm like, and at the time, like that loss was I think like 2 months, 3 months of work for me on my old job. So it wasn't fun at all. But anyway, yeah. So I grew up. I always got jobs whenever I can. Since the moment I turned 18, I've been independent from my parents. I've actually been helping my parents with as much money as I can afford to.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I did school, university, and then obviously got a part-time job. Started working on my personal finance journey, I guess, trying to be as independent as possible.
So let's hold on. Let's stop there. Because I don't think the one thing we've ever done is really do a deep dive on Helle, the kid, and his upbringing, and you're watching your sister, the influence of your hardworking parents. Like, I want to go a little deep there. Maddie and I have gotten good at just like let's go a little deep here. So one, you said a couple things. One, the first thing that you said that stood out to me is you said you got used to and comfortable living at a base of a mountain. I don't even know what that means. So like, did you mean something by that, or are you just reflecting on the fact that like living there?
Literally, like, okay, so backstory: the Balkan Peninsula. The reason it's called that is because there's a big ass mountain across Bulgaria, which is called the Balkan. So we call it that. And I literally, if you imagine the Balkan on the map, like here, where my hand is, I lived right below it. So I would literally wake up, and every time you look to basically the left or to the north, you just see a big mountain next to you.
Yeah.
So this is what I meant by the mountain. And it basically becomes ingrained into your mind that it exists. So I can literally just look that way where the mountain would be in the north. And I could anywhere I am, I could just picture it,
Right.
So that's what I meant by that. And I think that had a big effect on me because I'm just so comfortable and I love it so much. That I literally last year I spent a third of the year in Bulgaria.
Gotcha. So it just felt like it just felt like home to you, I think is what you're getting at.
Yeah, it feels like home, and I've always kept to Bulgarian traditions, Bulgarian values.
Talk to us about those. I don't know what those are.
I'm gonna regret that because the community is gonna make memes. But I did Bulgarian folk dancing for years.
Talk to me about that. Give me some folk dancing tips.
Pure alpha for you guys. No one knows this shit in the Web3 space. But no, so I'm left-handed, right? So I'm innately just bad at coordination. But I joined this Bulgarian folk dancing group in London, right, when I was like 16, 17, and I was shit. When I'm telling you I was shit. And then one day, just like that, it fucking clicked. And I got to the point where I was literally teaching people how to dance. I had my own dance group. I was helping my own teachers teach younger kids. So I was like deeply ingrained into Bulgarian culture in the UK.
Okay. And so what is folk dance? Like, I need to picture what Bulgarian folk dancing is. Like, are you willing to do that on camera? Is there a...
No shot. No shot.
Son of a bitch, it was worth a try.
But it's technically line dancing, I want to say. That's what the English kind of is.
Okay.
But it's way more dynamic, and different regions of the country have their own different kind of personal style. So I would learn all of them basically. But no, yeah, I was big. Like, honestly, that was my first, I guess, form of status, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Where I was respected for something and the ability to do something, because honestly, hands out, I was good, right? I knew I was good, and I had a bit of an ego because I was good.
I love it. I can tell.
I'll be honest. I'll be fucking honest there.
Okay.
But obviously, that led me to like meet people and interact with adults more than younger people. and like learn stuff. But yeah. Anyway.
Wait.
happened.
You heard
So-
it here first, people. Helle was bringing in the
I'm gonna
ladies because he was
be-
a hardcore good Bulgarian line dancer.
Oh, this is bad.
I was gonna say, is this like so the ladies dig the folk dancing?
Is that how you
Hell yeah.
is that how you copped your first girl,
Okay.
Helle?
Okay.
Just
No,
let us know.
it's not. My longest relationship so far to this day was this English girl
Uh-huh.
who hated the folk dancing shit. She did not like it at all. I would like force the music onto her, and she would like I would like play it all the time, constantly, just like get her to like it, and she would just hate it. So it just never happened. No,
Yeah,
it
not
wasn't.
meant to
No,
be, mate.
but
Not meant to be. So
yeah, no,
so-
but I did get some interest there. Yeah, no,
There
people
you
love
go.
it. People love it.
That
So
I
okay,
go
far.
so
for it.
other than the dancing, because you said Bulgarian values, what are like
Yes.
what are some of the values that when you can when you say that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, dude. Like Bulgarians are innately pessimistic. Because
Okay.
there's a lot of hardship over there. So I'm pessimistic and prudent as hell.
Mm.
And dude, they honestly. So I think those things. Then also like hard work, and I mean I wouldn't say it's just Bulgarian values. I think it's just my family or like familial, like
Yeah.
instilled by my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Just being honest with people. Like if I have an issue with someone, I'll just tell them, like to their face. Because usually, like if someone is worthwhile for you to discuss the problem with, you'll find a solution, right? So
Yeah.
this works with me and Llama, right? If I have an issue with Llama, like that I really don't like something that he's potentially said or done,
Yeah.
I'll be like, yo, Llama, like I don't agree with this. This is why. And he does the same. And me and him have literally had like debates, hours on end, even days on end about like a specific point.
Yep.
And then at the end of we would agree to disagree, we would reach a conclusion. But at the end of the day, we'll know what each other meant, right? And I think that's really important because
Yep.
especially if you're in an international community like NFTs, right?
Yep.
So like one day I'm speaking to a Russian guy, next day I'm speaking to a Japanese guy, and the Japanese and Russian culture are way different. But if you have like an innate ability to understand and put yourself in other shoes, you're way more likely to succeed. So yeah, these are some of the values I would say. I just need to get my MacBook charger. 1 second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. By the way, I've just moved into this apartment, so if it looks a bit weird around me, it's because of that.
I got
But yeah,
I got it cropped
so-
right in your face, bro. We can't see anything but your beautiful mug.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other values. I mean, discipline, because the dancing, it wasn't
Mhm.
like professional or anything, but it was still a good amount of discipline. You know, I used to
Sure.
live 70 miles north of London for a while, and I would travel every single week for like hour and a half one way, dance for like 2 to 3 hours, and then hour and a half back home. So I would get home at like 11, 12 o'clock. And even the time where I was teaching classes,
Mm-hmm.
the money I would make teaching, I would still end up losing 10, 15, 20 quid a week at least in just travel money, not to mention time.
Yeah.
Talk to
So
us
it was
about.
just like it was honestly a passion.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So talk to us about that. Why that? Was it just the heritage and what it meant to you? You liked the camaraderie. Like what was it?
I think it was the heritage of the community.
Right.
So I do like Bulgarian people in general. Like I
Yeah.
get along with Bulgarians as well.
Yeah.
There's a good amount of it, and I don't know if applies to other communities, but like I think Bulgarians, some of them just don't like if they live abroad, they just don't like communicating with other Bulgarians.
Okay.
Where with me is like I fuck with my people, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I see Bulgarian, I'm gonna chat to them. You know, if I hear someone speaking Bulgarian, I would like speak to them. Like I'll just turn around and start speaking Bulgarian just for the sake of doing it. Because why
Right.
wouldn't you?
Dude,
So I think that
chat's
helped a lot.
loving.
And
Chat's loving the fact that you broke out this
don't
like
even know.
news flash, baby.
I
There's
don't wanna even look at the chat.
Oxaloo is real excited.
Actually, a Bulgarian guy. There's a Bulgarian guy in the chat which made me laugh earlier. He said, "Yeah." Oh, bro, I don't know. I'm not sure if he's still here.
Well, I'm just saying they're really liking it, but this is a good conversation because that, you know, I think there's a couple things that also open it up. I think I would love to hear the impact your parents had on you because I heard hard work. I heard a lot of these Bulgarian things. Is there any other moments or instances that you kind of reminisce of being a child and the impact they had?
Yeah, I mean, there was one, and I think that stood out to me. It was I was with a friend, and we did some stupid stuff like kids do.
Yeah.
And I think I smacked him, or like I pushed him like slightly more like than you would as when you're playing.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, I think his granddad like came up to me and just slapped me, which is a very Bulgarian thing to do, like in Eastern Europe, like in communist times, because he grew up in communism essentially.
Right.
It was very normal for you to like punish someone else's kid, if that makes sense.
Right.
So like if and this is what my parents told me, like I had a conversation with my mom the other day, like if let's say my kid was outside and he got slapped by some adult, there was a reason why that adult slapped him. So if he comes back to me crying, "Oh mom, this guy slapped me," like usually the parent will slap the kid again to say, "Why would you do that?" But no, so that happened, and I remember going home, and I think I was crying. I must have been like 6 or 7, and I told my dad, and my dad is this like big, massive guy. Like he's shorter than me, but he was a wrestler, like Olympic wrestling, so he's big and bulky.
Right.
And I remember him like just topless, like in his shorts, jumping out my house, going to like basically confront the guy and just protect his kid, right?
Yeah.
And this is a memory that I remember vividly, where I don't remember anything else from that period.
Yeah.
So that kind of just was like to me a key point of like, okay, my parents are gonna do whatever the fuck they need to do to make my life good, right?
Yeah.
And then that led with, so he was basically willing to get in a fight because someone slapped me, which I think most parents would do, but when it actually happens, you see it happen, right?
Right.
A long story short, he didn't actually fight the guy. It turns out the guy's wife was my dad's school teacher, and it was all resolved, and they became friends after. And I was being a bit of a little bitch anyway.
Right.
But that would impression me. And then my mom, like, she's been there with like whatever I need. Like even now when I'm stressed about work or anything, like there's not many people I can like speak to, so I'll just call up my parents and be like, hey, this random thing's happening at work, and just rant to them, and they'll be like, cool, no worries. They don't understand shit what I'm saying, but they're like, yeah, no worries, you'll be fine. So like these kind of things where my parents have been super open to me, and I see that not many people's parents are like that, because I have friends who they would never speak to their parents like that. So yeah, these are kind of the things that they instilled on me, to where I'm like super comfortable, like to talk to them about anything and everything, pretty much.
Maddie, I know you got, you're smiling. I know you got questions, and I mean, I'm sure you're going to bring this up, but as he's telling the story, he nonchalantly says his dad was an Olympic wrestler. Like, come on, bro, you can't just drop that.
No. It wasn't actually in the Olympics. It was the Olympic style of wrestling.
Oh, I thought he was in the Olympics. I thought you were like nonchalant. Yeah, my dad was an Olympic wrestler as well.
So he could have been, but he was a dumb kid, and he didn't like, he kind of dropped out of training. So yeah.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Gotcha. Yeah, so a lot of the things you're talking about, and just growing up in Bulgaria, and the one thing you first started with is you talked about how it's the poorest nation in the EU, right, in the Union, and so what effect did that have? Because some of the things you talk about, pessimistic, prudent, direct, how much of that, and especially going into now seeing some success, I mean, you were talking about GameStop and obviously success in crypto with NFTs. How does that still affect you, and how much of that do you think is just going to be with you forever?
Oh, a bunch of it. Like I don't trust things at all. Like I'm the most pessimistic, like prudent guy you would probably meet in this space, to the point where like I would even question like the smallest thing that someone does, or a smallest thing a project does, which I think is really good, right?
Right.
Because if you don't have that, and if you're surrounded by yes men, then you're not gonna get far, right? And it's not always perfect and doesn't always work, but I would say that it's still a part of my character. And even with my parents, right? So like, they were pessimistic about this job and career, but they were still supportive, right? And then it worked out, but they're still pessimistic about something else. So, for example, any investment I make, because I make some private investments in my own time,
Sure.
like they tend to be quite prudent towards them, because like to put into perspective, like there was a massive the Bulgarian stock exchange basically rugged everyone in the country a few times. When communism fell in 91, industries collapsed.
Yeah.
So any sort of investment vehicle, any sort of stuff like that for my parents is just a no-go. And I've kept telling them like, oh, you should invest in your mortgage. No, you should invest more money in the mortgage to pay it off early. You should invest in your pension. You could probably invest in some index funds, this and that. And they're always like, no.
Not going to do that. Very
maybe.
practical way of living.
So then my question becomes, if that is the culture, where did you get the element in yourself that lets you even be in this space in the first place? And what I mean by that is
Great
that
question.
like, by nature, Web3 is extremely volatile, right? And so, you know, it would be surprising if somebody heard that kind of an upbringing and then found out that you have this tremendous success in crypto, because everybody thinks crypto is just like, you know, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Where does that come from? Where does I'm willing to take the risk and do something crazy like NFTs come from?
Well, it's when you have nothing to lose, like this, you have nothing to lose. Right? So I knew going into NFTs. So okay, at the stage of my life where I went into NFTs, I had already had, you know, around 20-something thousand pounds to my name, which for a 20-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid is a shit ton, right?
That's a lot.
I was probably like, I had zero debt. I had a roof over my head, which I was supporting my family with. So a big thing for me is, this is kind of stopped now because I obviously make a higher bracket of money. But since I started working, 25% of my money would always go to my parents. So it doesn't matter what my paycheck is pre-tax. If I make 1,000 quid, 250 goes to my parents. So I knew from that I'm not living off them. I'm still supporting them somewhat. And I had made this money. So like, I can do this for like 6 months, maybe, or something like that. And then if it goes to shit, it goes to shit, right? Unluckily, because I've had success so far, that and I live like a student. I still live like a student. I don't have any watches. I've got like 2 pairs of shoes, which is a big meme in the community because it's just either the dirty pair or the fancy pair. I'll show you my apartment right now, like empty Amazon boxes that I got today. I've got some. I've got a shelf over there.
Do you have anything in that apartment?
I will show you where the CEO of LLamaverse sleeps.
I'll show you right now. Thing in that apartment.
Dude,
I sleep on the floor.
No, you don't. Holy shit, he's got a blanket on the floor. I'm waiting for my.
You see this? These clothes are these are clothes from the laundry drying on my fucking wardrobe because I had to wait for my fucking like drying rack to come. Bro, I'm living like a.
I don't know,
it's
bro.
A mess. It's a mess.
I think the world can learn a little bit from growing up in Bulgaria, man. There might be more.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, that's a bit much. No, I just that's just how I live, right?
Much. I know.
Dude, but no, the thing is like, yeah, you know, like if for example, like I had some success with NFTs, right?
Right.
So if I make like, let's say $20,000, $30,000 a year. I know that this much money can last me for a year and a bit, right? With my lifestyle and my expenses.
Right.
So there's a point where if I make like 100K a year, I know that I can risk the next year and a half to some venture that could pay off massively or not, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And even from LLamaverse, I haven't made money from LLamaverse in like months, right? I make royalties, but like they've slowed down tremendously, and I've made probably like there's staff members with that make double what I make a month, right?
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me because I know that I've made the money from the initial mint and when royalties are good up front, where I can just work for a long time.
Right.
So I think it's, for me as an individual, once I've got to that point where I know my basic needs are met, I just kind of YOLO it in a sense of like, I don't,
I don't think it's in a sense. We just saw your apartment, man.
Dude. Yeah.
That was the fastest MTV Cribs I've ever seen. Chat's loving it, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, bro. Like I would let me show you.
Like you can do. You're the only person I know that can do MTV Cribs in a 15-second
Is
TikTok.
that a trash can or a bottle of water? What is that?
It's my so
It's a refrigerator, bro.
I don't have a fridge. My fridge hasn't come yet. I don't have a fridge.
Well,
I've
listen,
been craving cereal.
part of this is because you just moved. I mean, this is not
Yeah,
how
it
you
is. It is. Part of it. Yeah. This is my IKEA bins that I haven't even used.
Oh.
This is my rose thing.
Yeah.
And this is a pillow I haven't even opened. So
Alright.
this pillow with a case.
Ooh, that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade.
Well, at least you have a pillow for the blanket that you use to sleep on the floor currently. Oh, shit, dog. Maddie.
It's a pillow.
Any other questions about that? Because this is I don't think we got to go this deep in your childhood before, and this makes a lot of sense. Anything else, Maddie, or anything else you want to add, Helle, now that we've asked those questions? Or Maddie, go ahead.
I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of Bulgaria in you, but it also sounds like the move to London also rubbed up enough to give you a little bit of like, hey, you know what? There's risks worth taking. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like your family was pretty, averse to that, and that was something that is probably a benefit for you, right? To give you a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah. No, my family is doing like significantly better financially in the UK right now. They bought a house. They've got good income above average. They had another kid, so moving to the UK allowed their parents to have a third child, which is what they wanted.
Right.
So I have a 7-year-old sister at home. She's obviously like, how many? 14, 15 years younger than me, which would have never happened in Bulgaria.
Right.
Yeah. And again, this kind of shows that, a child is an expense, right? And my parents chose to forego their comfort, which they already had delayed because of us, to have another kid. So they have at least another 11 years of another child to care about. Right. But it's not about the money for them. It's about the love for the kids and the kids doing well. So that's also another lesson I've learned, because they don't care about that shit, bro. I can make $1 million tomorrow and I can make $20 tomorrow. As long as I call them and I'm happy, they're happy. That's all they care about.
That's a good environment.
That is a great environment. And so while we're on it, talk to us about what you said, right? What Maddie was getting at is you've seen more money in a short amount of time than they probably have ever seen. What keeps you grounded? Is it the upbringing of those Bulgarian roots to say, like, when you see $1 million in the bank account, or you see LLamaverse sell out for X amount of dollars and go to an 8 ETH floor, does that not deter you?
No, doesn't matter at all to me. Like I've desensitized myself to money in a good way. Like as long as I know my rent right now, I'll be 100% transparent. I believe it's like $1.3 thousand a month, which is rent, bills, and internet. It's like $1.3K a month. Yeah. As long as I've got that times 12 plus some food and shit, like I'm chilling, bro. Like I can have $1 million, I can have 10 million, I can have 50K, 100K. Right. I've grounded myself so much that I'm on a mission, dude. Like I don't care about the money, I'm just care about the journey. Yeah. And like growing up not well, like not rich helped. I also do like to ground myself in reality of the world. So in my spare time, I consume a shit ton of content about the world, about, you know, people in third world countries, about prisons, about these things. And when you consume this content and like you realize, when you put it into perspective, like, oh shit, I lost, you know, 1 ETH on this NFT flip or this and that, bro, this is a luxury.
Right.
Like there's people in in places where they don't have clean water, they don't have a roof, they don't have internet, they have none of the shit, and we're, you know, and you're losing an ETH. Like if you could buy an NFT, you're like top 1% of the world anyway, right? If you have that much disposable income. So for me, it's all of these things, like just like, and I never talk about it because there's nothing to talk about. It's just, that's how I live. Like I don't care. Like I can lose all my money tomorrow and I'll be fine. Because I know there's people that are experiencing way more hardship than my lucky ass at 21 years old. So yeah, and I know people that most of my peers now are 30 years plus in age. So I've seen people that at my age were just doing nothing. Like they were just partying, doing this and that. And I see people, and I know people that at my age were nearly bankrupt or in massive debt. So for me, I know I'm like as far as ahead I can be in my age group, and I just don't need. I don't pursue money. I just pursue a good lifestyle that I want to live, and my lifestyle is cheap anyway. So that's I'm happy. Bro. I'm living my best life. This is my first apartment.
Hell yeah,
and I get to walk around. I get to like buy random shit. I bought a fucking I bought bins the other day. I bought mugs. I bought like plates. This is like exciting shit to me. Like I called before this call. I swear to God, I called my grandparents from America to give them an MTV Crib like tour of my place, just because I'm excited about it. Like, not like it's not the money. It's not this. It's just the fact that I'm just chilling around. That's it. That's all I need.
And for anyone that's listening that is in the llama community, can we please immediately make a meme saying, I'm living my best life. I bought mugs and I bought plates.
I got some good ass mugs. I think I showed you earlier, though. Did I show you?
No,
I didn't show you.
Show us the mugs, man. Show us the mugs.
Good glassware. He's starting in the right places, folks. Pillow and glassware. That's all you need.
Dude, I'll tell you what. He has a lot of empty space to line dance.
These are my. Look at this top quality fucking IKEA.
Top quality IKEA mugs. Those look like bowls to me, but I'll pass it off as a mug.
No, it's a bowl. It's a bowl. I'm looking for the mug right
now. He's excited about mugs, bowls, and plates. He's 21 years old. He has one of the most successful NFT projects that's ever existed, and the dude's jazzed up about bowls and plates. Maddie, what were we doing when we were 21?
I mean, I'm trying to think. At 21, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I got pretty jazzed up at some good bowls and some good mugs. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Oh, I like that.
Killer mug.
Look at that,
bro.
Yeah.
That is
killer. I was gonna pour myself some water, but it's pretty dirty, so I have to wash it first. Don't worry
you gotta wash that. Yeah,
you probably want to wash that out. Maddie.
Anyway, but I hope that answers the question.
Oh, dude, you're doing an amazing job answering our childhood questions. I don't know if you want, and you know, if you don't feel comfortable opening up, that's fine. But you mentioned you had some siblings. Any impact they've had on you? Do you like being a bigger brother, or any stories or things to talk about there?
Sure. Yeah, I've got 2 siblings, 2 sisters actually. One of them is 17, almost 18. So she's 18 in like 20 something days. And then the younger one who's 7. She's 7. And she's 8 in August. So yeah, I mean, look, they've always, at least my oldest, the oldest of the 2 has always been around, right? Because since I was 4, she's been around.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, look, she honestly does not give a shit about money or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I will tell her, like, oh, hey, Anna, like, you know, this and that, you know, the projects are like 4E, 5E. She'll like, good for you. Like, I'm happy for you.
I could care less.
And it's like, just like, it doesn't bother her. Like, so it's like very refreshing that I would like call her and I'd be like, hey, I FaceTimed her like 2 days ago. I was like, hey, I bought some mugs and stuff, and I gave her the tour as well. She just like her mind just works so much different than mine that it's refreshing to speak to her
Yeah.
because she's more artistic. She loves fashion. She's into design. She's got like mannequins at home making dresses and stuff, and I'm here like, let me do this and that. And she's at home like on a Friday night at like 11 o'clock. She's in bed.
Yeah.
So it just kind of puts into perspective. And then the younger one, the 7-year-old, she's just like a gem. Like if she didn't exist, and I keep telling my parents, like if she didn't exist right now, what the hell are we gonna do? Like what are we doing? We're doing nothing. We're sitting around like idiots, we're like watching TV. And now she's around and she's like coloring pictures for us, and like she's telling me to come back from Dubai, and like she's just like, it's like a fresh perspective of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
When there's a younger child around that doesn't really know anything but knows everything, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
they soak up so much without realizing they soak it up.
Oh,
So
I love
it's all fresh perspectives that you can get from these young kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love them both to bits, and I speak to them as much as I can now that I'm away. But yeah, I mean, I took Anna, my youngest, the older two. I took her to the crypto club in London that I go to, that I've invested in. I'm going to NFT Paris on the end of this month around her birthday. So I'm gonna extend my trip to take her to Paris for her birthday. Just things like that.
That's
And I try
awesome.
to be, I try to be as
And that's
good of a
another
brother.
and that's another thing that I want to bring up is you've mentioned this multiple times. And listen, not only have you been successful at a young age, but then you say, I'm gonna one up this and be a good person and take care of my family, and 25% of my income is going right back to them because I'm going to take care of them. I'm assuming, again, that comes from the Bulgarian kind of upbringing principles, or is that something that you just committed to at a young age, or where does that come from?
I just was like, I mean, it's a saying as well in English, but there's no free lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, there's no free lunch applies to pretty much everything. So, the moment I was making money, it would be weird for me to not give my parents anything, right? But that's just weird,
Right.
I wouldn't just be like making any sort of money and not. I live in the roof. I eat the food they provide me. If I need to live somewhere, they'll give it to me. So I just sat down with them and said, hey, I'll give you 25%. Is that fair? They said, cool. Obviously, now that I'm making significantly more money than I was making back then, they just said, no, none of that. No more 25%. Just like give us, like help us when we need to, and that's it.
Right.
So now I've done things like my dad started his a new company recently, a new business, and I helped him buy some equipment and stuff, just like that, just help.
Yeah.
So there's things like that. But yeah, it's the culture, it's the family, and then it's just my own own like mindset. Because none of my peers that I'm aware of does that. I just decided to do it myself.
Yeah.
And no one really knows about it. Like this is the first time I mention it anywhere, like in public.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a thing between my parents that we just do,
Right.
Sure.
Maddie?
But my goal is to pay off their mortgage in the coming 3 years.
There you go.
That's a great goal to have.
I like that. Well, just on that little mark there, it's cool to see somebody living below their means with a goal to retire their parents and like pay off their mortgage like that, because there's a lot of people. I remember when I first got into NFTs and you were looking on the space, and it was really easy to see all these people kind of flashing or showing off all the success. Look at the car I bought, look at all the stuff, and it's like, man, if your parents are still working, I'm not impressed yet, man. And so it's just, I think that's a good priority to have, no question. I think
I hate stuff. So
yeah. Well, I mean, on top of that, I mean, I think families come together multiple ways, right? And they found ways to do it. And in a lot of cultures and a lot of systems, it's like you just described, right? Which is like everybody is in this together, and we're all trying to win. We take care of each other, right? And then you also see cultures where, for example, the kids may not contribute to the parents, but the parents' role is to leave something behind for the kids. And then that keeps rolling down, right? That concept of like generational wealth, where
Yeah.
If if Mike's granddad leaves something to his parents, and then his parents leave something to Mike, and Mike's in his head thinking, I have a duty to leave something to my kids. Do you know what I mean? And I think you see that happen, but the truth is
Yeah.
that generational wealth is difficult because life happens, right? What happens if there's a storm or an insurance claim that doesn't go through or whatnot, or a sickness? If you deplete that wealth, what are you left with, right? Whereas when you come together as a family and you all contribute, I think it creates more of a cohesion. What do you think?
No, I think Americans have the so the more I've kind of gotten older, the more I realize that the West and the East function differently, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
in Europe itself, Western Europe, like London, UK, Germany, France. I don't know about France, and Germany, but I know about the UK confidently that people look to move out as soon as possible. People don't like this. I mean, they can't afford it, but they try to.
Yeah.
And now my friends in Dubai, I have a friend who every other day drives a different car. Does he own all these cars? No. But his family and his brothers came together and bought a bunch of cars. They have their own businesses. They came together. They own the house. They own everything, and they just share everything, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yep.
this family unit that many Eastern parts of the world have, where it's not like, oh, at age 18, I'm gonna leave the house and I'm gonna be my own individual. Why would you leave? Stay together, put money together, pay off your house, do this and that, and then just do something else. And it's a thing. It's a thing in Bulgaria as well, where people, from
Yeah.
what I've seen, stay together as much as
Yeah.
possible.
No,
Uh,
that's
big families. I know many Muslim countries do this a lot, where
mhm.
like you would live with your like parents while you have kids. And in
Yeah.
Bulgaria, before we moved out to a different city, when I was born to age 5 or 6, before like the city over where I went to school, we lived in a house with my grandparents, sharing the house. They would have one floor, we had the other floor. That was it. And this just allows for so much more, I mean, it's better financially, it's better for the family, it brings everyone together. And I think this notion of generational wealth is such like a fad, because let's say, God willing, by age 70 I pass away and my kid does well as well, but then his grandkid just loses all the money from one stupid thing.
Yep.
I think generational wealth has a lifespan of like one generation. I don't think there's many massive families that
Yeah.
like those, like the Walton family that just have the stock
Yeah.
of like
Right.
Walmart. There's no one else really around that has that much.
Or
They
the
have to have
Hearst
like
family that still
Yeah,
exists.
You think of like
or-
the Vanderbilts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only certain big names, but even then, I mean, it's only
they
within a
can
few
still
of
grow
them.
very easily.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is like for most of time, now we have, for all intents and purposes, what we call a middle class, right? But for most of history, there was an
It was
elite
no
upper class, and everyone else was essentially in poverty,
Right.
right? And so
Yeah.
everyone poor had to do what you were talking about. You had to live as a
It's
family and
literally
work as a family. It was the only way to survive. It was the only way to survive.
Right.
And then this like top quarter of 1% that had extreme wealth. Sure, yeah, they had generational wealth, but a lot of that was built into laws because of the power dynamic to keep them in control and keep,
Which
to ensure
yeah.
that their property would stay within the family, things
Yeah.
like that. So
Yep.
it is definitely, it's rooted in things, but it's interesting how people still kind of strive to be that.
Yeah, but there's also the thing of which famous monarch or leader of a country was succeeded by an even more famous child, right? Because many cases or many instances in history is like Alexander the Great, right? He
Yeah.
he became this massive emperor. His son didn't do much. If you understand, I don't recall. I believe the empire split, but there was there's an old story in Bulgaria, because the Bulgarian people came from a Turkic tribe more towards middle of Russia, and they were called Khans back in the day. And there's a story, and this is a story that's ingrained in my head as well. It's this Khan, he brought all of his sons together in the Khanate up north, and he said on his dying bed he took one arrow in front of 8 of his sons and just broke it in two and said, "This arrow is each one of you alone," just like that. And then he took 7, 8 arrows together and he couldn't break it. And then he said, "If you stay together after I pass away as my sons, the empire will remain, we'll all be happy." These were like ancient Bulgarians, as we call them. What happened? They all fell into pieces, and the youngest son founded Bulgaria. And that story remains until now. And it's the same notion, right? Many things fall apart after the generation happens. But if you instill that kind of family unit, then it's way more difficult than like one person. And you never rely on one person, right? Because if someone gets sick, everyone else can like chip in more.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I and it's even, harder for me living in America, right? Because it is very shunned upon by living with your parents here because you're not successful or you're not independent, right? But we just recently sold our house in the Bay Area to move in with my in-laws into a generational home to give us the flexibility to have more money to do the things that we needed to do. And then on top of it, they're about to retire and we know we want to take care of them, right? And this is just such a departure from what I'm supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, it was either have more time, flexibility, and money, or try to grind the corporate router to be VP to then spend $4,000 a month in San Francisco to send my kid to daycare to never see them. And, I just made the practical decision, right?
Yeah.
And it's wild, man. I mean, just the concept of it. I mean, first of all, daycare is more than most mortgages now.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have 2 kids, definitely more than most mortgages. And so it's like the concept of living with, I mean, just a Mike situation. Imagine having your parents there in terms of just for childcare, just for sharing that responsibility, just to give the parents a break for a second, these type of things. Like there's a lot of cohesion that comes from that. I think you make some good points. I can tell you one of the wealthiest families I ever met was a family of Indians, and when they immigrated here, it was wild, man. They all started businesses and did exactly what you said. They bought this house. It was like a 28,000 square foot home. It was something like 20 some bedrooms. It was wild, but they all lived there, all of them. It was so crazy. And same thing, everybody there, they had a whole garage full of crazy cars, this massive mansion, and it was just like, it was almost a small little like town they had created, but it was just the family stayed together. And here they are living in this mansion, like incredible wealth created, all these people individually running businesses and whatnot, and they just pulled it all together. And I was like, man, it's just like you said in Dubai. I mean, it's smart.
Yeah, no, I have friends who have literally done this.
Yeah.
And they're doing it now. And every time I see them, that they're just swapping cars. Like one day driving a 4x4, next time driving a Porsche, and they're like they just bought it together with their with his brothers, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. And I would love to do the same with my siblings, but again, I don't know about the younger one, but the older one isn't as business orientated, but hopefully the younger one becomes a machine, because that'd be great.
Only if you promise that you take some of that money, combine it with ours, and then we have our little business family retreat in Dubai together.
There we go.
That'll be fun.
No, I honestly don't even like Dubai that much, to be honest. I think Dubai is pretty fake. I'm just here for business.
Okay.
I mean, the nature of it.
The nature of it. Yeah.
I'm not shocked by that statement. That's for sure.
It's not surprising.
I mean, spoiler alert, it's a man-made city in the middle of sand. So,
because
when you say it's fake, its conception was just an idea. Like, you know what? F it. We'll build a city here.
Because we can.
Everything else here is dead, and
rich.
because we can. And I mean, it worked, but it's just, the idea that it's like,
Right.
Yeah,
It's
just
a
turbo
next
rich
level.
people.
So anything else you want to ask Matt before we kind of switch gears into the Web3? Because this was, dude, Helle, thanks for opening up. These are some really, really cool stories.
You're getting some alpha. There's people saying they're gonna send me some air mattresses and shoes.
Maddie, anything before we move on?
Nah, I think we're good.
All
I think
right.
we're good.
So let's move on. And, I think we can get to the point where I'm studying finance. Is there anything I don't even remember? Did you make it through university or did you drop out of university? I don't even remember.
I I paused it. So
paused
I was
it.
doing it, and I had the option to just pause my degree.
Right.
So I literally called them up and said, "Hey guys, yeah, I have an opportunity I want to pursue as a career. Would I be able to basically pause my degree for future, potential?" They said, "Cool, yeah." They were pretty open to it. They said, "Good luck." Am I ever gonna go back? Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Um,
And so you were going for finance,
not-
right? And so why did you pause, and take us through you making the decision to pause to then finding Web3, and then let's use that as kind of the next phase.
So okay. So long story short, I wanted to do. I did Mandarin in school as a language, right? And I was good at it at a young age. As I got older, I kind of fell out of love with it. Some other circumstance happened, but I thought, I like the Russian culture a lot, even though it's a bit weird nowadays to say that. But I have Russian friends, Russian, extended family. I like the culture. I've read books about the culture. I like their movies, all of these things. So I fought for a period of time because I could learn Russian in university and do another degree of like Russian and politics, for example.
Right.
And get a job into the government and do all these things. That didn't work out, so I decided to do business and IT. So I did business initially in a very small university, just because of the flexibility. Because they pretty much promised me I could study 2 days. I could have lectures 2 days a week. And I was like, "Oh, cool, bet I'll do those 2 days and I'll work the rest of the days."
Yeah.
So I'll do it. Unfortunately, due to it being a very small university, the quality of it could easily drop off. So if a teacher was ill or unwell, there was almost zero to no replacement. So after the first year, I got sick of them. I said, "Hey guys, I quit. I'll take on the debt. I don't really care. I quit. I'll find a different university." So I did that. I had to wait a bit. I then started a IT and business degree, which I was doing while doing Web3. But obviously, as my role in LLamaverse, Llama Labs, NFTs, business, etc. grew, I just slowly found myself having less and less time, to the point where I was literally in Bulgaria working, going out with people, this and that. And I just came home and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I have a quiz due in 10 minutes, which I did on the table at a restaurant." Like, it was that bad.
Yeah.
And after that, I did pretty well on that quiz. I got 90% of that quiz, which was crazy. But I sat down and I was like, "Okay, I have this opportunity. I could pursue it. Worst case, again, my mentality is worst case, it goes to shit. And I've made some decent money and I can pick up university again. And I've lost nothing, technically." So I just paused it, and it remains on pause. Again, I don't think I'll go back to it. Maybe one day I will go do a different degree that I find more interesting.
Right.
But as at age 20, almost 22, no, don't think so.
So what I heard is you kind of, you didn't have a great experience because of the small university, and you felt like you weren't gaining a lot of value, and then you liked working and making money, and then the crypto thing happened. Anything else I'm missing there, or does that sound about right?
No, that's about it. I mean, while I was doing, so first year of university in the UK is just like a piss take. Like, you have to get like 40% overall to pass, and if you're not getting 40%, you should not be anywhere near a facility that
Right.
educates.
Right.
So I just spent the first year like the first year that I did in that small university, just working maximum time.
Yeah.
To make up as much capital as possible to snowball myself, because I'm big on compound interest, and I'm big into compound interest on finances, networking, and just personal growth. So if you improve yourself by like 1% every day, which is a cliche in NFTs like Twitter space, but
Right.
it's just been a thing anyway for ages anyway. And once you make the first 100K, you know, Charlie Munger said the first 100K is a bitch, but after it's easy. It's that mentality of compounding. So
Yeah.
I knew that the earlier I start, the better chance I have.
I like that.
Yeah, the first year I just took the piss. I just honestly took the piss. Like I wasn't studying properly. I was speeding through my lectures. I was going like out of 3 lectures in person. I was going to like 2, maybe 1. It was also COVID time, so it was even less. But yeah, so I got the opportunity, and I've literally in the last 15 months I've met probably more interesting and successful people that I've met in all of my university career and beyond for the next couple of years. I've made more money than I would make in the first decade or 2 of my career, probably in any normal, you know, graduate progression. I've gained more valuable experience than I would get in probably 2 to 3 years after graduation. I'm not in 70,000 pounds debt. I didn't drink half of my liver away, and I didn't lose like 3 years of my life basically. So I see it as a net positive. I don't know. You could take me up with that one, but I see it as a net positive.
No, I'm not going to take you out because I did the opposite of what you did, and I did all those things, and hence why now I'm 41 starting a company. But hey, you know, I gained some life lessons as well throughout that time.
There's a benefit of both, right? You know, I could have met the love of my life like at 19.
Yeah.
But I was grinding away on Discord doing this.
Right.
Or I could have met my love of my life never and just wasted time drinking. You know, it's if my brain doesn't work on what ifs, or what could happen, or what I might have been missing out. My brain works of I'm doing this shit now, so might as well fucking do it. And what comes. You know. And my mom says this a lot. She always says, you know, God has a path for everyone, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So if you're meant to make this money, you'll make it. If you're meant to get sick, you're meant to get sick. Like, so don't overthink it. Just do the best you can at a time.
Yeah.
So my anxiety and my stress levels for what I do as a job day to day, I would say like 50% below what the average should be, because I just think like that. I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. I can't fix shit in the back end. I can fix shit in the future. You know. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that because Maddie and I talk about that a lot. And I think that is the right mindset for leaders and people who are successful is if you don't spend a lot of time regretting, what you do is reflect on your time and what are the lessons and takeaways from there to make yourself better in the future.
Exactly, yeah.
So I love that I'm always so fascinated, man. You're still super young and you've got a great mindset. Any time in between, you know, finding crypto and Web3 before you really, you know, you told the famous story. I still want I still want to revisit that. So we have that as content of you, you know, reaching out to Llama and saying, hey man, I'll just transcribe your Twitter spaces. But before that, were you in the Web3 space for a while until you met Llama, or did that kind of start pretty early at the same time?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, so your Web3 journey really did start with kind of Llama.
Yeah,
okay.
But it was an unhealthy 2 weeks. It was unhealthy 2 weeks for sure.
Okay, okay. Maddie, do you have any questions before we just get into that? Because you have a ton of new stuff to talk about too. I don't want to miss that.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We can move forward.
So give us the short version of how you injected yourself into the LLamaverse, because I think people can learn a lot from this lesson. I know people ask you all the time. People have asked us a bajillion times, how do you create something? And I think, you know, it's a simple answer. Just do something. So give us your story, man.
Yeah, listen, like I heard this thing 2-3 years ago, and it was like you miss 5,000% of the shots don't take, which obviously if you miss 100% or 5,000%, you still miss, right? So that was it was a joke within a saying.
Yeah.
So if you don't put yourself out there, like, you're not gonna get shit, right? And it works the same way in sales. If you're a salesperson, if you knock on 50 doors and only one sells, you sell, right? If you don't knock on 50, you stand in front of them like this and you don't knock, you're not gonna get shit. Like, what the best chance you have is someone opening the door saying, "Oh, I want to buy." Never gonna happen. Like, stop wasting your time. Same thing with networking, right?
Right.
I network a lot in Dubai. I was at a dinner last night in Dubai. And networking most of the time doesn't get you anywhere, but it needs to hit once. And once it hits once, you could potentially set yourself up for life as an individual or as a person. Be it with a job, be it with an investment. Like, I've heard so many bored apes that I just met someone that said, "Oh, by the way, there's this crazy monkey on the internet. It's like $20, $30, $50, and now it reached 400,000." So it just needs to happen once for you, right? And that's what happened to me once, and I got lucky. And but once it happens and you get lucky, then it is a real game.
Well,
it is you can have all the posturing, all the preparation, but once you're in the field, like, you're in the field,
Yep. Maddie, go ahead.
And location key, right? I mean, if you get lucky and somewhere in like Minnesota, that might be your only shot, right? But you're in Dubai. So it's like a good network contact there could truly set you up for life, because think about the power circles just there. You know what I mean? I mean, there's billions and billions being exchanged, and it's like, this is where some of the most powerful, wealthy, influential people are. You could be sitting next to somebody that could radically change everything for you, or certainly introduce you to someone who could. And that's what's wild to think about. That, I mean, like you said, you could just be at dinner.
And that's a Web2 circumstantial thing, right?
Sure.
But the same thing applies to Web3. Like, I have people that work for LLamaverse in, like, Boston or near Boston, in South America, some of them in Chile. Some people are in Dubai. Some people are in, like, Central Europe. Like, on Web3, it doesn't matter, because like, networking is mostly done on the internet. That's what I meant. Obviously, if I'm in Dubai, I have a way better chance than in Bulgaria, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
That's circumstantial, and that comes with its expenses. It comes with its drawbacks. It comes with the travel time. It comes with the peace of mind. It comes with the chance of getting hit by a random driver. There's a lot that goes into it. But what I'm saying is, like, if you don't apply yourself to anything, like, to the max, then you're never gonna, like, get anywhere.
100%. And I mean, that's why Maddie and I knew what we were doing was something interesting, because not only we were building a business that is creating media in a fastly growing space, we, by our business model, are forced to meet new people every single week. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to see, just in 1 year, the amount of people that we've met and the network that we've built. It's really cool, man. It's really cool. And it's just the beginning. It's pretty cool to think about.
But to go back to the story is, I saw Llama's name on a side of a Discord. It was the vases, the famous vases. If you're a Llama holder, you know what that vase is. But I saw his name, clicked, saw the profile. In his profile, there was the LLamaverse Discord. It said, like, free Discord. I was skeptical, and I thought, this is a free Discord that probably has, like, paid tiers, but let me check it out. Turns out, 100% free Discord. Like, Llama's man of his word, it was actually just free. And there were 24 hours of live streams. So people literally streamed 12 hours. There were 2 people, shout out to the OGs, they know who they are. They would stream 12 hours each, 8 to 12 hours one person, 8 to 12 hours the other person.
Wow.
And this would be a VC of like 60, 70 people, like, trading, aping into random shit. Like, this was like peak, like, bull market, basically.
Right.
So I stick around there. I checked things out. I lose money in NFTs, and then I go to bed one day. I wake up and I see Llama posted an announcement looking for mods. check the timestamp. It's been like 7 hours. I was like, fuck, I missed the shit. I messaged him anyway. I'm like, fuck it. I messaged him. Then, time goes by, nothing really happens. Never replies to me. Classic Llama. And then, no, but at the time he was getting so many DMs and still is, so it makes sense.
I can only imagine.
I've had like 8 DMs, 9 DMs since I've had this conversation.
You always reply to mine. It makes me warm and fuzzy that you do.
I do, yeah. You're an OG. I always reply to you when I see you.
Thanks, man.
No, but so he did his first ever Twitter space.
Okay.
And I out of nowhere, I messaged him and said, "Hey, Llama, send me the record it and send it to me. I'll transcribe it so anyone that doesn't want to listen to like an hour, they can just read through the notes." So he was like, "Cool, I'll pay you." I was like, "Don't pay me. I just want to do it." He's like, "Nah, I'll pay you." I was like, "Cool, pay me. No worries." I think he paid me like 50 quid. And that shit took me like 6-7 hours because it was such a pain. And I did it the most inefficient way possible. And then, but unfortunately, there was no space for mods at all. So I just kind of sat on the sidelines, just helping here and there. And I told him, and he has posted these tweets numerous times of me saying to him, "I'm with you. Just like, I'll got you back. Just let's do it." This was like our first messages ever. And then time goes by. The Llama community joins another community to help them launch their project. And the mods of LLamaverse all Llama Pass back in the day, they all jump in at the same time. And I'll just all say hi or mod me. I've said another just random message and Llama just mods me. It just makes me mod. I'm like, cool, I'm running this. I don't give a fuck. So I was by far the most active, responsive, and well-educated mod on the whole team. And I literally like doubled the interactions with anyone else there, like in the mod team. And we had a team meeting. And Llama basically said, "Oh, I need like a admin for the Discord servers. Is there anyone that can do it?" And then I forgot who it was. It might have been Brother Ali. It might have been someone else on the team. They just said Helle should do it, or Helle should do it. He's been active. He's been doing this. So I didn't even say it myself. I was thinking of saying it. They said it for me.
Right.
So I just took it. And at that point, I had zero fucking idea how to use Discord, like on a admin side. So I learned all that shit like quickly, like in one go. And yeah, I mean, just like that, I started doing more and more and more and more. I started getting paid like $20-$40 a day. At the time, I just had gotten a part-time job on the weekend. I went to that job one day. I did one shift. I woke up the next day. Sorry, I did the shift, went home, worked as much as I can, interacted as much as I can, slept 4 hours, and I woke up like basically dead. And my parents were like, "You're gonna get sick, or you're gonna pass out from this." Like, it wasn't a very good job. And I just said to them, I said, "Hey guys, I've got some savings. There's an opportunity here. Llama already had gifted me what now became an animated llama, so it was the gold pass back then. It's worth like 2,000 quid. I can sell it if worse comes to worse. I'm not gonna go to work today." And they just said, "Look, if you want to do it, do it." So I literally just told Llama, "Dude, I quit my job. This better work out," or some shit like that. And then as a joke, and yeah, I just quit my job. I don't think I even called them. I was like, "Fuck them." Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm in deep. There's no like me considering, "Oh, do I want to quit?" There's no like them saying, "Oh, we can change your shift." I was like, I'm in. Like, forget everything else. And yeah, since then, just slowly, and then one day Llama was like, "Yeah, Helle, man, like you're basically a co-founder at this point. So you should be seen as one because you've been with me since the beginning." So I became co-founder, and then yeah, things progressed. And yeah, so it literally just started from me just showing initiative, and this is what, since becoming like, I guess, the CEO or the head honcho, of the company, I've said the word initiative maybe like 100 times in the last like 10 times a day at least. I just tell everyone, just show initiative, and like I will never tell you off for initiative, right? And people make mistakes and they show the initiative in the wrong time, or they misunderstand. I just explained to them why they shouldn't do it, but I'll never punish anyone for that, because this is a bleeding edge like industry, right? And if there's no initiative and no innovation, the fuck is gonna happen? Nothing.
No.
So yeah, people
That's
should
true.
show that.
So
So you can
before
have a
we
full-time job,
go
you
ahead.
can do whatever you want, but if you're showing yourself there, you'll get noticed eventually.
Right. I love that just show initiative. Before we get to the, the recent news and all of the changes, reflecting back on your time of transcribing a Twitter space to missing out on the mod to,
Did it
becoming
twice.
quote unquote, kind of a co-founder just through time and perseverance. What lessons do you think you've learned? Is there anything you have done different? And what advice do you want to give to anybody that's listening to this saying, I want to be Helle?
Yeah, I don't think anyone should want to be me, because I'm nothing special. Like, you should just be yourself and just like do whatever you're doing, just do it well. Because I don't look like, I don't try to replicate anyone else, right? I just do what I want to do, and I see inspiration and positives of people and negatives of people, right? So like, you shouldn't really look up to someone, like, you know what they say, like, you should never meet your heroes, sort of deal. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm anyone's hero. I'm just saying, if you're looking up to someone, they're probably a prick because they're a human being, and I'm a prick. So you should just take the best of people and the worst of people and see which one you want to keep.
Yep.
People should just honestly be themselves. I've seen and helped so many people get jobs in the Web3 space just because I like them. And if you're difficult to work with, no one is gonna work with you. Trust me. Like, if you show attitude, if you do this and that, and if you're honest, you're so much more likely to get a job. And I was literally sitting at a dinner, and this applies to any industry. I was sitting at a dinner with Mark, fuck, what's his name?
Not Zuckerberg.
The creator of Kick-Ass, the creator of Wanted, the creator of a bunch of these movies. He's a producer for Netflix now. I was sitting at dinner and he was explaining how there's an actress, like, it was actor Bruce Willis, a famous Bruce Willis, that's extremely difficult to work with, so no one wants to work with him. Whereas someone who is very likable and is down to earth, like Michael Caine, is very easy to work with, because, and I think he famously put in his contract that he wants like a piece of toast every single day for lunch. Because everyone else was like, oh, I want caviar, I want this and that, I want this drink, I want this and that, and he just said, I want a piece of bread. So if you want the piece of bread and you're showing yourself up and you're there and you're offering help and you're doing above and beyond and showing initiative, because what I did for Llama is initiative. He would have never thought to transcribe a Twitter space.
Yeah.
Was it worthwhile? I don't fucking know. I remember him posting it and then posting below the link of the doc, and me getting someone saying in one comment, oh, thanks for the transcription. So I helped one person save time. And if you save people time, you're already valuable.
Right.
So yeah, just
That's
do
true.
what you think is right. And is it going to work out for you in Web3? Maybe not. Is something new going to come and you can use the skills that you've learned in Web3 to make money or industry or career there? Sure. Why not? Is there a chance of your whole life going to shit of you trying these things and never working out? Yes. But did you try? You did.
Yeah.
If you don't try, you're never going to go anywhere.
I love it. Maddie, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those, like a lot of life lessons, right? Easy to say, and honestly,
Yeah, very
it's
easy to say.
simple to do, but it's not necessarily easy to do, right? Because to your point, I mean, having run businesses, I mean, initiative is rare. You tell people constantly, take initiative, take initiative. I used to tell people, listen, man, I'm not a micromanager. If I tell you to get something done, I'm expecting you to figure it out. If you have a question, come and ask me, but like, I'm not going to sit there over your shoulder and watch you how you do this. And it's shocking to me how many people are waiting for that. Even though they think they don't want to be managed, they're waiting to be managed. And I think it's, when you say initiative, it's just, from my perspective, it's something that you don't see a lot. And I think truly the story here is that the initiative you are taking made it very clear that you stood out. I mean, not only just to Llama, but also even amongst your peers as mods when they were looking for an admin for
Yeah.
Discord. You know what I mean? They nominated you, which means, again, easy to say, but that lets you know how many people really do take initiative. And as a success
Yeah.
principle, yes, I agree with you. It's fantastic that somebody who does that is worth their weight in gold in really any industry. And you
Yeah,
applied it
exactly.
to this one.
And it's not even in industry, right? It's like if you have a friend group, right, and you're the one that takes initiative to improve your friend group's like social life or anything, that's enough. For example, in my friend group back in school, I would usually be the one pushing for us to like organize like going out for like cinema or doing this and that. And these small bits of initiative is what helps everyone everywhere,
Yeah.
right? If there's no initiative
Right.
in the world, we're all gonna be like stuck in like the 20s, the early 1900s, So yeah, and I think obviously we live in a capitalistic world, right? Capitalism is, I'm here because of capitalism. You guys are here because of capitalism.
Hmm.
And that capitalism breeds and incentivizes initiative and innovation.
Yeah, it does.
So it's essentially tied to the fabric of our existence, basically,
Yeah.
as people who live off the Western world's kind of capitalism, so to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, initiative is like it's honestly, yeah. But again, too much initiative can lead to negative things, because if you're trying to do too much, like you're doing too much, as we say in the UK.
What a
Yeah.
great segue, my friend. What a great segue. And that's the segue into CEO in, kind of changing how LLamaverse and Llama Labs are working, and maybe doing too many things all at once. So let's talk about that. Let's first talk about just the change. And I know you had a Twitter space. I'm sure you've talked about it, but I want to give you the floor, knowing that you're with some buddies, to just shine any more light or anything that you want to say on just what the discussions looked like and what did that whole period look like. Take us through it, man. Excited to hear.
I honestly think it's people making it out as more of what it is, more than what it is in reality, because like things have changed, but not that much has changed, right? So what has happened is, before it was me and Llama that made decisions. His word has had significantly more say. My word still had say, of course. And that was in decision making, strategy, and planning out things, as well as community stuff. And Llama, being the passionate person that he is, sometimes his own passion gets in his own way. So I've heard this. I've said it a few times. Some of my close friends who are in the NFT space have said it at the same time, and it all comes from love. Llama is his own biggest enemy at times, because of his passion and his desire to do good for the community. So this wasn't anything new or anything rushed.
Yeah.
Like me and Llama were planning on doing this swap potentially in the next 2 to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided to speed up the process and do it earlier, because we saw it as a net positive in the ecosystem. So what has changed? Llama now purely just focuses on development and stuff, and some other aspects like financials and all of these things that I help him obviously with. But I take decision-making power in like day-to-day things. When should we announce this? If it's nothing to do with development, I just make the announcements. I don't check in with him. Community stuff, all of these things. I've cut down costs. I'm soon gonna let some staff go. I'm gonna recruit some new members of staff. Like all of these things I'm handling that he doesn't have to handle, so he can make the products what they should be, and the best that they should be. Again, like people sold and our floor dropped because of this announcement, and I think fair enough to them, their decision. I think, and many people think that this is better for the project long term. And it's a lot with big entities and projects like this, in a new up and coming industry. there's obviously mistakes. Like LLamaverse is not perfect. I'm not perfect. Llama is not perfect. We're far from perfect.
Right.
But what we have now is an opportunity to fix all of these things slowly. And I've been CEO for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, I think. Not even 2 weeks, maybe less.
Yeah.
I think I already, in my opinion, seeing slow, positive change. And again, it's that small changes and edits that are going to really kick into place and into gear that are going to improve LLamaverse in the next 4 to 5 months and more. And the OGs and the people that I respect and see that decision, and the amount of DMs that I've had from influential people in the space, congratulating me and saying in private that they agree with this decision, just shows me that it was a good decision to make. Other people that are unhappy, yes. Is there memes that we make out of those things? Yes. There was a famous meme now in my life, for example. Honestly, it was it was a llama holder that spoke to another member of the community, and they said, "Oh, we're going below 1 ETH now." And the community member who was obviously on my side of the case was saying, "Oh, but this is a bullish thing long term, and once people realize and see the products of it, it's going to be all good." And then the guy said, "Who's Helle?" And then now "Who's Helle" has become a meme in the community.
Right.
And then people are changing the names to like, "Oh, who's Helle?" And if you check that specific, I'm not going to name the name because I don't like that thing. But if you check like community members like interaction or Discord, all they do is they come into the Discord and they do /work, which gets them the Discord currency. Nothing else. Literally nothing
Right.
fucking else. They don't read. I bet you they don't read announcements. They've never interacted with me. They've never done anything. And I mean, yeah, that just speaks for itself.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, the "Who's Helle" is like an internal meme in my head now. And the funny thing is, I share all the memes that the community makes to my parents now because they just make a bunch of funny memes of like the "Who's Helle" meme. My parents know it now. There's the helicopter meme where they Photoshop my face on like a Thomas Tank Engine helicopter meme. That was really good.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Can you
I
get the
love it.
community to make some memes of us because we need some? Oh
Yeah,
man.
no,
That's fantastic.
it's really good. No, but listen, like, is there like significantly more stress and like workload on me right now? Yes. Is it going to be like that forever? No. I'm already working towards, and I mentioned this to you in private, Mikey. I believe I'm working towards getting a community council involved
Yep.
in the project, which essentially is an indirect. It's basically stakeholders in the project, technically, and I'm breaking up into 3 tiers. So 1 tier is staff members who've been with us for a while. 2nd tier is community members, and then 3rd tier is community and non-community members who have done something to do with business or finance. So if you've raised money, if you have a successful exit in a company, if you have a successful NFT project, you can join that higher tier of people. Not higher tier, but higher group. And all of these 3 entities combined, I will be able to go to day by day and ask for help, advice on these things.
Yeah, I
Which
think I think it's a brilliant idea. And so
Yeah.
I want to add on and kind of, I guess, ask it in a different way. We know a lot about why the change was made because of what Llama's doing, right? I'd love to hear from your words. What do you think you bring to the table, and why do you think it's going to be different now that this change has been made? I want to hear it from your words.
Yeah. So I'm more grounded to and more prudent is the 2 things I would say.
We know
So
why.
where Llama would be like, yeah, let's do this and this product and invest this and this much money into it, or this much time into it. I would say, okay, let's do all of these 3 things in a 6 month timeline where we do one by one by one by one. You know.
Right.
So I'm way more kind of balanced in that capacity, and more of just I have an easier time making decisions that I think would benefit the wider community in the long term, which could in the short term be a negative for them, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if people are unhappy, I don't care as long as I see that in the fourth week there'll be something extremely beneficial for them. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Whereas Llama is more, Llama always wanted to, and still wants to, do as much as possible, as quick as possible, to satisfy as many people as possible.
Right.
I think I bring a better balance. And I think I just enjoy managing people more than he does.
Yeah.
He just enjoys making products more. That's it. Like, I enjoy solving issues with staff. I mean, I don't enjoy solving issues, but I have a way easier time doing it than him, who would much rather do product development. And as good as I am in product development, because I am pretty decent at it, he has way more experience and has way more thoughts in his head, to the point where he would do the base foundational level with the developers, and I would just add on like cherries on top of my ideas and feedback, rather than me doing the whole cake and then him coming in later saying, "Oh shit, we could have changed this topic to this topic early on," and I'll be like, "Well, Llama, we could have done this like 3 weeks ago." But you see what I mean? Like, if he's the baker and I'm the topping, it's way easier. And while he bakes, I take the trash out. I open the umbrellas outside. It's like a metaphor of, like, how things should work.
It's how business. I mean, it's how good business partnerships work. There's a fantastic book called Traction. I think I had Mikey. I told you to read it, but there's the core principle there that successful business partnerships come down to the two titles they use is a visionary and an integrator. And what you're describing is you are the integrator, right? And the integrator is the one that makes all the things happen behind the scenes that need to make a business run. Whereas the visionary's entire job is to be that creative. They're coming up with ideas. They're excited. They're, when you see these people, you have a Bill Gates and you have a Paul Allen, with Microsoft. And it's like both are critical elements.
Example I gave to Llama, like when we're having a debate about something. I was like, you're the Bill Gates that everyone knows. You're the Steve Jobs that everyone knows. But I'm the other motherfucker that did just as much work in the back end that no one really knows about. I don't care about that. I like this CEO stuff. Like, okay, cool, it's fun. I get more recognition. But I know, like, the amount of shit I've done in the last 14 months that many people, it's LLamaverse. Oh, the name is LLamaverse, right? NFT Llama is the main guy. I'm just kind of there for most people. That's why the who's Helle meme is so funny to me, because they say who's Helle, but I've indirectly changed their investment and their community like so many times that they would never fucking see.
Yeah.
And they would never know. And it's funny to me because I know I've done it and I know it's helped. So that I don't really care for the recognition. Obviously now I have to step into it. But
but the whole point is and the whole point of the book is that, like, they're vitally important to each other. You know what I mean? You have to have that person in the background that does that, and it's massive. And here's the thing, it's not, when I say Bill Gates and Paul Allen, a lot of people don't know Paul Allen. What they don't know is that he quietly bought the world's largest private yacht himself. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, Paul Allen is not, he's not slouching. You know what I mean? He's just running a corporation. And a lot of people don't understand how much real work that takes. It's a tremendous effort. And I mean, the chief executive officer, that's what you're going to be able to roll. And it sounds like you have the right person for the right fit in both situations. And that's a great change, quite frankly, a very positive change for any business, right? And so it sounds like it's going to be a good fit. That's awesome.
And I love a good debate as well.
Yeah. Oh, I know you do. And so looking back from now till when this all started, obviously reading between the lines, you could say one mistake was launching too much in a short amount of time and trying to please people too much. Is there any other thing looking back that you would say is one of the biggest mistakes you made, or does that kind of sum it up, or anything you want to add?
I think we paid some people too much money. I believe this is just prudent Helle talking.
Right.
There was times where we would kind of give a percent of funds, a percent of mint to people that could have easily just been on salary. I think that was a decision. We helped launch projects and products like Alpha Sharks, which now became Magically. All we asked of them was literally like give us 4,000 whitelists, which by the way, we got 4,000 people, every single llama whitelisted on a collection that minted at 0.2 and reached 0.8. So as far as I'm concerned, all of you should be break even right now if you minted. All of you llamas should be break even. But no, we didn't think or want to or feel obligated to take equity in that, and we should have, right? Anyone in their right mind should have taken equity. So this is more things. We have 134 animated llamas that are worth around 4 to 5 ETH each now, that were worth 20 something ETH back at peak. We didn't sell any of them because we didn't want to dilute our holders. But if thinking about it now, we could have and we should have, and I suggested a few times to sell 5, 10, raise 100, 150k, dilute them by like what, 10% or less,
Yeah.
and then make way more products with that money. So there's mistakes that we made that are just like hindsight is 2020.
Yep.
So yeah.
No, I love it, man. I thank you for being open and honest. Maddie, anything else to kind of we move on to the future of?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
I'm excited about
so let's talk about what the current state is. I know you had kind of this 60-day push to launch a bajillion products. You have released so many things. Whitelist Ping just minted. You've got Magma. You've got all these different things. So take us through a logical explanation of things that are happening, because I think if you look, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, because so Llama and I get bored, right? Or especially he gets bored. So, and he gets bored. Like if we're developing, for example, if we're developing a product and then we get a timeline of like, oh, 2 months of dev work. In those 2 months, we have the desire to be bored, right? So what happens is something starts in, for example, January and is meant to finish in March, right? And then it finishes in April. So in between that, in let's say February, we start something that finishes in 3 months. So it finishes at the same time, right? And then we had all of these things kind of stack up slowly. And then when one thing got delayed on a longer timeline, it would catch up. So things would just stack together like a block, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like us doing too much. It was just like deadlines merging, having issues with partners or products, having to delay things. For example, like we have our dashboard, which we were meant to launch like 3 days ago. But out of nowhere, out of just pure coincidence, WAP, which we're using to authenticate ownership of NFTs, just deleted the specific line of code that we needed, either by mistake, by oversight, or all of these things. So now we have a ready product that we've been promising for weeks, 72 hours late because of a random instance that happened. We have no control of, right? So that pushes everything else that I want to do. That pushes everything that I've been working on in the background, partnerships, acquisitions, all of these things, because I can't launch them or any of this because of those 72 hours. And they're still ticking. As we speak, it's still ticking. So yeah, I don't think we've ever stretched ourselves too thin. I mean, we stretch ourselves thin, but never too thin. But this is where stuff stacks so much, that we've had to like prioritize things, delay things. But now we are in a very good position to release a lot of these things, and then have a clean slate of a few products coming in the future.
Yep.
And being able to kind of respec like a video game into new specific, wider, larger things, or a few smaller things, right? So we literally launched Burn to Earn today as a test. What is Burn to Earn? Very simple concept. Let's say you, both of you, Matti and Mikey, you have a random rug. Let's say a kitty cat rug, like just some kitty cat NFT rug 2 weeks ago.
Hey, I got one for you. It's called Jolly Elves.
Yeah, okay. Funny enough, when Lam was giving me an overview of burn to earn in a private call.
Yeah.
He connected a ledger or a wallet that had a Jolly Elf. So it came up on the side panel. And they were recording a video, and I was like, Lama, don't do the elf. Don't do the elf. Please don't do the elf. But anyway, so let's say you take the Jolly Elves. You burn that Jolly Elf, and you get 3 tasks to complete. So it could be following someone, it could be retweeting something, it could be doing this and that. And then after you complete these tasks, you get a reward, right? So this reward can be a gift card, it can be a whitelist, it can be like some random stuff, right? So this product we've been developing for a while, but we have to delay a few times. We have to push back because of our releases. But now it's out, and how are we going to leverage it, right? So let's say you guys have a spending budget of $1,000 a month for marketing, right? Example. Let's say you have a massive guest that let's say you get like Gary Vee, for example.
Right.
But Gary Vee is not willing to tweet. So what are you going to do? You could come to us and say, hey, can we get 3 or 4 tweets on burn to earn, like pushed, like the traffic pushed towards this tweet that we have about Gary Vee? We'll pay you £1,000. So we're going to take that £1,000 and then buy £1,000 worth of goods and rewards for the people that do the task. You see what I mean? It's like a self-feeding cycle. And then for people, so this is an example for you as a media company, as a you know, as what you guys do as a podcast, as a live stream. If you're an upcoming mint, what will we offer you? Let's say you have a 5K supply. We'll say, hey, give us 1% of supply, right? Or 2 or 3 or 4% of supply. Are we going to push X amount of volume towards the volume of interactions? So we now have these whitelists to put into that raffle and these things. And then we can also say, hey, out of your 5K supply, give me 50 free mints. These free mints, we put some of them in those boxes, other ones we've split. And we leverage that traffic and we keep going and going and going. So just we have products like this releasing all across the board.
Yeah.
So we have a dashboard which brings everything together. So alpha calls, all of our services, marketplaces, all these things in one concise point, which is one of the biggest issues that the community has now. There's so much going on and it's difficult to keep up with everything. So we're just combining everything in one window away from Discord, because Discord is clunky. It's good until you reach a point and it becomes just pure mess. So yeah, and then we have products. Again, I have potential acquisitions I'm trying to make, mergers of companies coming to Llama Labs, things that I'm discussing that haven't been finalized, but they're being held back because of, for example, WAP, right? Or because whitelisting has a delay. And you can't say we're going to launch this, and this, and then take the third latest one and push it forward because these two are delayed. You have to wait for these two to come together, and then you can launch the third. It's like a big strategy, right? You can't send your trebuchet forward if the horses have to be fed, you know? You see what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. And the crowd, which is the holders, or the people in the castle, they're shouting on the wall, like, send the troops. But I'm like, dude, the horses aren't fed, you know? There's no point. So, and that's why I'm not too bothered by people like being negative or this and that in the short term, because I know there's a resolution and fix there and planned out that should work. It just needs time.
Right.
So yeah, we have NFT Learn coming out. We have Split Bodies coming out, which is one of the best LLamaverse memes so far ever, because it keeps getting delayed for one or another reason, to the point where everyone just says it's coming out like 2028, you know?
Right. And so
for example,
go ahead.
For example, with Split Bodies, right? It's a collaboration between 2 projects. So when Gajura, which is the Split Body partner that we're launching first, when they have a big launch, or they got delisted for a month, or they have a marketing push for an event, these things, they cause delays, and Split Bodies for them is not a big priority, right? Let's say Split Bodies is the third priority on the list. They have to clear these 2 out. But then this one then makes a new one, right? And then it keeps getting pushed back and back and back. And we as their partner kind of just didn't like demand that it happens now, right?
Yeah.
It's just not how Web3 works.
Yeah.
And then people like cry to me and they're like, oh my God, Helle, our Split Bodies happening? Is this happening? Is that happening? I'm like, dude, like it just like you cannot force these things to happen. They just have to happen naturally. Otherwise, they're never gonna work.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of launches and releases. Like there's things that we haven't even announced that we're building in the back end.
Let me rephrase it a little bit, because there is so much, and we could sit here for 3 hours talking about everything.
Yeah.
Give me your top 2 to 3 things you're most excited about that are coming out in the next few months.
Easy.
You can't say all of it.
Dashboard. No, the dashboard, which brings everything together that exists already.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the dashboard as like a what is a good example? The dashboard is like it's like having the dashboard. It's like my house right now, my apartment, right? I've got my plates here, I've got my knives there, I've got my seats there. The dashboard is like getting the living room ready and done where you can live in it. So right now, if I need to go and like make something, I have to go dig in a bag, I have to go do this. And if a holder wants to do something, I have to go to this web page, that web page, this Discord channel, that Discord channel. The dashboard is basically like a neat house you can live in. And anyone comes in, doesn't have to ask me, oh, Helle, where's the kitchen knives? Oh, Helle, where's the plates? Helle, where's the mugs? They just see the mugs. They're just visible. So dashboard is a big thing that once we release, it's going to help a lot of community members that have kind of lost track. They've been away. It's going to increase retention of existing of new members, and it's going to satisfy older members of the community. And then the second one, which I was about to talk about as well, is the LLamaverse products page. So we've built around, I think it's 10 unique things for Web3, from Discord bots that no one even knows about because we just use them on the back end, to Discord bots in public. So we have a welcome bot that we built that guides you through a community that people want to buy. We have a web app. We have a mobile phone app. So we have an iOS, Android app. We have all these products that we want to sell with others that we haven't released, but we can't sell them in an easy way. So what we're going to do is we're building a whole products page, which is coming. It should be slated to be finished in around 9 days, as in its full capacity. So that will bring everything that we have in one go, right? And let's say, for example, the other interesting thing about it is there's multiple layers to the products page. First one is it promotes all of our products and brands, easy. Second one, it promotes partnership capabilities. So let's say you guys start charging for these interviews. Let's say like 200 quid, right?
Yeah.
You can put that product and that service on our products page. If someone books through us, we get a small cut, you get the majority of the money, right? So we enable these partnerships as well, of revenue generating partnerships. And I've already secured 2 or 3 of them that essentially are referral fees that we can get from other products and services that don't even belong to us, with nothing to do with them, but they're good products that we can leverage our community to use, that we make money from, you know?
Do you require exclusivity with those, or is it just adding the partnerships to build the network as a whole?
It's not exclusivity. It's usually just like a pre-negotiated exclusive offer, for example. So for example, what do I mean by that is it's not exclusive, but let's say for one product, which is almost confirmed now, their affiliate structure is a community member or individual can get between 5 to 10% commission. A community can get 20% commission. LLamaverse/LlamaLabs gets 30% commission.
Yep.
So it's not exclusive, but it's a higher rate. So yeah, I guess that answers your question pretty well.
It does. It's a great idea.
But yeah, and there's different layers to it. So we're building an affiliate program for our llamas. So if a llama refers someone on our products, they get a cut. And if it's a monthly subscription model product, they get perpetual income from that. So if you're a llama who is, for example, a content creator, and you put your affiliate in there at the bottom of your work, your stream, whatever you do, any money that comes through there, you get a cut. So we're enabling our llamas to leverage, the existing llamas to leverage their brand and build brands and their networking and all of their capabilities to make money for the company and for themselves. And we're opening ourselves up to external people coming in to buy llamas, because if you're a content creator or alpha caller or project owner or this and that, and you want to participate in these things, you have to own a llama. What are you going to do? You're going to invest in a product, the llama, which already gets you these other benefits, these networking capabilities, opportunities, and the affiliate codes and numbers, etc. So that's over time going to improve the, I guess, value and connectivity of our community, and bring in more and more people that are of higher value, so to say. So yeah, the two biggest things is 100% the dashboard and the products page, because that brings everything together. And any new product and release we want to do, it just goes to the products page.
Yep.
Anything you want to promote goes there.
Go ahead,
Will
Manny.
you have analytics available for that? So like, for example, what you said, right? If somebody wants to partner with you and you say, yeah, we can refer X number of business to you. In fact, here's a similar business as yours. We've helped them secure whatever, 50 sales or whatever it might be, because that way, those type of numbers make promoting the idea of getting a llama not just some sales pitch, but like it's real. You know what I mean? Hey, these people went and bought a llama that cost X. Here's what they've gotten because they've had that llama, and they've made, they've 50x their network, their size, their audience, and their value in that by joining this community. Things like that, I think, are massive, not only selling points, but when you think about what it does to the original community, the numbers are what matter, right? And so, is that something you guys plan to do to kind of be able to show some of those stats?
Yeah, I mean, we have to get them to show them, But no,
Yeah.
like so in addition to everything I just explained, we will empower our own community by providing resources, stats, all of these things, so they can go have a ready package, ready pitch deck for each of the products to go and show. So if you have a friend who is a project owner, you won't have to like sit down and explain to them, oh, this is what this does, this is what this does. You just have to gauge their initial interest, and then literally share one link, one pitch deck, or connect them to one of our people that can explain these things to them, or a video, or anything like that. And then that way,
I like it.
It becomes so much easier to sell.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's many ways to gamify it. Like, for example, we can increase the affiliate number for like a weekend, so it incentivize people to try harder over weekends. We can do so much with it, and we can build a report. So if we generate, 500,000 of sales for a product, we can show that off. And it's also flex for us. If let's say over all the products we generate 100K a month, and 15 or 20% of that goes to llamas, we say our community, not us, our community makes $20,000 a month without us being involved, just from our products page. That's already a big flex. That's already going to attract people,
Sure.
So there's many levels to it that people don't realize, and they're not going to become apparent until people actually do it and participate and take advantage of it. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, these are my two big things.
I love it,
because
dude.
they're like those two things are like, if you have a car, right? Like that's the body of the car and the engine of the car. The wheels, everything is the other parts. It's just like you need the first thing to have,
Yeah. No, I like
So,
it.
yeah.
Maddie,
These are the two big
any other thoughts or questions before we kind of move to wind this down? Helle, we have two final ending questions that we've added since, so I want to get to those to make sure we have time, because before we get there, I also want to talk about the future. Maddie, do you have anything else to add before I go there?
Nope, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. So
Let's go.
let's talk about the next 6 months for you as CE, new shiny 2-week CEO. What does the next 6 months look like? Share with us what you want.
Well, it's okay, so I've got a few things in mind, right?
Yeah.
First one on the to-do list is getting the community council up and running. So the community council itself is going to have a 3-month trial period for each individual member, like a a probation, right?
Yep.
So I need to get that going and then look after it and nurture it and make it as structured and like smooth as possible, because that will have prolonged positive effects of the company. Next thing is bring in as many partnerships, accessibility to the products page as possible, because the stronger the products page is, the more offerings that it has, the more revenue generating avenues we have, right? So, and these partnerships, like for example, I've secured partnerships that could potentially make us like $2,000-$3,000 a month. That has taken me like 3-4 hours of work total, and they cost us nothing to maintain because it's an external product.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just honestly, it's just fleshing out the dashboard on the products page. They're like a bread and butter for the next 6 months, and they lead to revenue. They lead to break even. They lead to potential profitability. There's also things I'm not going to discuss because they're still not signed on. They're still not approved.
Yeah.
But
that's
I
smart.
can say that we're looking at getting. I'm not gonna speak. I'm gonna keep quiet. But
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah, the idea is we've spent a lot of money so far just building out tools, products, parts of the business. Now it's the time to kick every single one of them into monetization.
Yeah.
And then recoup all those initial investments and then make profit on each tool.
Right.
Like that's the goal. But yeah, I mean, there's things like community culture that I want to improve. I want to enable more of a community that wants to build products, services, brands, etc. Which cannot be done over like a week or two. It's gonna
Right.
take time. It's
Right.
gonna take trial and error. It's gonna take people like you coming in that can initiate that. We're already seeing a bunch of people building their own brands. I showed you Boats as content, didn't I, Mikey?
Yep.
Who was originally at Kaiju King's PFP. That was kind of his brand. He then saw the love he was getting at LLamaverse because of community engagement and initiatives that we've created. He's now repping LLamaverse as his brand.
Dude, we
around
got like 7,000-8,000 engagements when we changed our PFP, dog, and all thanks to you and that idea. Maddie, so I have to step away for my family obligation. Totally forgot about it because I was so entranced in the conversation. Maddie, I'm gonna have to let you take it. I don't know, I'm gonna be gone like 3-4 minutes, but Maddie, I'm gonna need you to lead this.
I got you.
All right,
Later, man.
I'll be right back.
See you right back. So I'm sorry, you were saying you were giving some examples of the success?
God, I lost my train of thought. Successful.
Yeah, you were talking about. Well, we talked about. Mikey said how we changed the PFP for Midlife to the Llama.
Yeah. I mean, it's as easy as that. Like once you see it happen a few times, it just works, right? So if you use the LLamaverse community, if you provide good, solid content, which the LLamaverse community would appreciate, like they will feed you like a lot to get to the next stage where others. So our community is interlinked with other communities, like the Sappy seals, the frogs, I call them the frogs, the plague. If you start off with us, like you slowly, they will leak in as well,
Yeah.
Because they'll mention Mikey G's, they say, oh, Mikey G's here, oh, Midlife Crisis is here, oh, it's a Saturday, so they have a stream, and it's slowly going to leak into it, but you need to use communities to grow your engagement. Same way you use communities to grow your brand. Communities is where everything went free. They're like the currency that no one really appreciates that much.
I agree 100%. I think communities are undervalued in a lot of respects and underutilized from a business standpoint and from like a Web3 standpoint in terms of how to build and these partnerships. One thing, my question is this. I agree with you that communities are very, very powerful resources to be able to help as grow other communities and partner and whatnot. You see a lot in this space where people go and they say, for example, I mean, with Mikey and I, to use an example, is a lot of content creators. Um, if you don't have 100,000 followers on Twitter, or you don't have, 10,000 subs on YouTube, a lot of people think, well, we don't we don't want to waste our time with you, but they're not looking at the content. What is your thought on that? And the reason I say that is just like Mike and I made a decision early on. I mean, you can buy follows. You can buy follows on literally any platform you want, right? And you can just make a monetary business example to do or decision to do that. But as you know, when you bought that stuff, it's empty. So I would rather produce good content that is effective, but this is my opinion. From your perspective, from the top down, what's your thought on that? Because when you say good content, a lot of people hear good content and mean content that will reach has a potential reach of the most eyeballs. Whereas I think good content speaks for itself. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a few like levels to that. I mean, I always joke around with a bigger number, better person, which is a mentality that some communities on the internet have.
Hmm.
I get more engagement with my 10K followers on my random tweets that I make once in a while than an influencer with like so much
Exactly.
more.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
there's levels to that as well, because the algorithm pushes some people more than others.
Yeah.
If someone tweets a lot more, they get a lot less views,
Mhm.
but they get more overall. I tweet little, so I get more in one. Anyway, what matters is if you build valuable content, it will get noticed eventually.
Yeah.
And if you're in a niche that is valued, it'll get noticed as well, and you'll make money from it as well. There's so
Okay.
many. The internet has enabled so many niches that like will never float in like any other way, any other
Right.
time period. So like,
Yeah.
for example, I know there's ultimate frisbee, like the
Yeah.
sport where just
Yeah.
frisbees around. Like I think the biggest sponsorship there's like multi-million-dollar sponsorship for something so niche.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff like there's paintballing sponsorships, like
Yeah.
people on YouTube that make finance videos, podcasts, people that make podcasts about weed, people that make videos about drugs, people that make videos about buying houses. Like monetization is so different and so unique. You can have you can have like a cooking show that relies on cooking with an egg every single day, like different stuff. And you can get a Patreon of like
Yeah.
2,000 people that are just
You're done.
the 2,000 specific people that will give you the $5 like a month. That's like
Yeah.
10K, right?
Yeah.
You have more money. Like you don't need the big audience. You need the valuable audience, the one that's gonna engage.
There we go. Dude, I 100% agree with you. And I think that
Yeah,
what makes me happy is that people who are in some of the larger positions of influence in the space think that way, because that's truly the best way we're going to grow. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's how it works, right? Good growth is slow growth. And that I like that mentality. I think that's so, dude. The one that just to on that, the random thing that got me was when I first realized that unboxing videos were a thing. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. I'm like,
Or
what?
ASMR, bro, that you've partaken in a couple times.
Yeah, you know I do.
So what were you guys
No, there's
talking
so
about?
many.
Where are we at?
So many.
Well, we were just chatting real quick when you left. I was just talking about how he was saying how these communities can help share content, and I was talking about what I talked about with you earlier, Mikey, which is that like I feel like good content speaks for itself, not just because I have 100,000 Twitter followers, suddenly my content is better, right? It's if the good content is there, then that would encourage people to want to build partnerships with Llamaverse as a whole,
Right.
because they have a chance, right? If it's just you have to come into the table with 500,000 followers, well, and it's
Yeah.
vacuous from the start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think
How
that's important
many?
that it can do that.
Did we
Yeah,
did we
and
go ahead?
so
I was
go.
gonna say, did we touch on the other aspect of that too? Is that we're obviously Helle trying to we're at the point where we're starting to monetize. We've been around for a long. We have a pretty solid network, and now we need to grow the numbers because unfortunately, how many people following are on Twitter again is just it's part of the game, right? We know our content is king. We think we're doing it the best in the space. It's just a matter of time, but I will say is part of the narrative that you guys were talking about, which we talked about earlier with one of our other buddies, is it's amazing to me that the people with the big followings don't understand the power of collaboration, right? Because you get a couple 100,000 Twitter followers, and then all of a sudden it's your ego, your single brand, and you could be so much more powerful if you saw the bigger picture. What are your guys' thoughts there?
Dude, yeah. There's so much to it, right? Like, perfect example, Sappy Seals and Wab, right?
Yep.
Sappy Seals have been around for a long time, but what's happened recently? Wab just went like, just like that, because the guy, all he does is branding. All he thinks about is this. He tweets constantly. He does all these engagement. He engagement farmed whole chains of crypto. He fucked around with Cardano for the memes, and it worked out, and he hooked onto it. So he tried so much content that was all valuable and funny content for his core base and audience, that if let's say he had 100 followers, right, and every single person likes his tweet once, like every time they see it, he goes to Cardano chain, he gains 2 people from there. He goes to like Spanish speaking NFTs, he gets 2 people there. By the end of the 2 months, he now has double the secure audience, the foundational level of audience.
Yep.
And this is what he did really well. And I've met him in person, and I've spoken to him. And like, we would be sitting around, and he would just tweet some fucking fire meme, or like some. He got CZ from Binance to quote tweet him. Like, he quote tweeted fucking Wab. Like that's so insane. Wab is just playing a different game, and I see shit like the things he does where Sappy Seals out of nowhere just started tweeting in Chinese. So did Wab. Why? Because there's a big Chinese community that he can capture just by doing a borderline meme of the whole account being an English account, tweeting Mandarin, which does nothing for them in the long term. Like, it doesn't hurt them in any way. Like, it's just a passive joke that appreciates different culture and community of the Web3 space that gained them holders. Chinese people bought Sappy Seals because of that one thing. So it's people like that who are super smart. Their project will do well forever.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
and then there's people like Pons from the Plague,
mm-hmm.
who has I haven't spoken to him ever, by the way, like one-to-one. So this is just what I've heard from other people. But he has his own like set of rules and things he believes in. And he fucking dies on his own hill because he believes in it so much, and he's proving himself to be right again and again. And people respect that, and people appreciate that, and they see the consistency of it, and they keep going with it. So if you guys are consistent as you are, and then you start expanding these networks as you do, and you start leveraging more and more guests, and you potentially attach yourself to a slightly bigger entity or slightly bigger influencer that you invite on as a recurring guest.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yep. Yeah, and we're gonna do that in a new form of just doing a weekly Twitter space as well, because it gives us a different format and it enables us to play around with more of our previous guests, because it's a lot easier to say, hey, just hop on for 15 minutes to say something and not do this long format based show.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got a lot of things in the works, and I appreciate the thoughts there and the consistency.
Yeah.
Maddie, any thoughts before I kind of wind this bad bitch down?
Nah, man, I am good.
All right. So, see, Walrus is already excited that we're going to do a space. And actually, I'm going to ask you, this is my last question to you. So, Helle, we're trying to think about the name of, like, what should we call our Friday Twitter space? And one of the things that I just had an aha moment with it was this. I said, why don't we just say, over 150 founders and 80 Web3 projects interviewed, ask us anything. Would that be interesting if you saw that as a Twitter space? I don't know.
The answer is no.
No, he's thinking about it. I don't think it's, I don't know.
I think it's too long.
I don't know, man. It's like
It's
clothes
too
shopping.
long.
If you don't love it immediately, you're never going to wear
I
it.
think it's too long. I think you're right. But I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the fuck to call our Twitter space. I just don't know what to call it.
We need a good one.
But you know what? We'll figure it out. It's going to be fine. It can evolve over time. The thing is, we just
Yeah.
need to do it. Just like you said. What do? You just got to do shit. And you got to consistently do shit. And guess what Maddie and I are really good at? Consistently doing shit. Because by the way, before you met us, we had a real intense 2-year stint streaming to 0 people on Twitch playing video games. So don't even worry about it, bro. We ain't going anywhere. So the last thing that we like to close our show out with, Dan, is a little different. And you know, I don't think we've ever asked you these questions. So one, we are now 2.5 hours. You started at 6 a.m. You might have been up for a little bit before that. So we appreciate the time. Do you have any questions for Maddie and I? Because we just peppered you with questions for almost 2.5 hours. And if you don't, it's okay.
I don't think I do, because although you like peppered me with questions, like you also gave your point of view in asking the questions and after.
Yeah. Perfect.
So I feel like it's been pretty like a good give and take conversation.
Love it.
I do think you need to mention that Twitter name though. Maybe like 150, and like you can say 150 founders in how many days? You could do like that. And then the closer you get to like 150 founders in like however many days, the better.
Ooh,
you see what I mean?
I like this. I love that you were still thinking about the Twitter Space name
Yeah.
as I was asking you the question. That is like a perfect little moment that I'm going to cut into the method and the madness of how Helle's brain works. Because you're just constantly thinking about things. I love it. And then the last question, and we've added this as more of a kind of just feedback for us. How, and you've been a part of a bajillion spaces and a bajillion voice chats or shows. How do you think tonight went since you've been on the last time? Feedback for us, your experience. Would love to hear your thoughts.
No, it's good. I mean, I just like you guys anyway, so it's already kind of skewed. I don't do Twitter Spaces. I hate Twitter Spaces. It's just like Twitter Spaces for me are just pain. Because many of them are just, there's no like solid conversation topics. They're just kind of like, it's either people just really like, I'm trying to not say a mean word, but
Go ahead, you can say a mean word.
They're just circle jerking each other at some point. Like it just ends up being like 5 people on stage, like just praising each other and not like talking about anything of value to each other.
Yeah.
And then the communities are like, "Wee." So like, if we had more of like, if people had more of a structured, solid foundation of not foundation, but if people treated like Twitter Spaces, for example, with multiple guests as a God, what's the word I'm looking for right here? Fuck. As a panel, not a free for all. It'll be so much better. And the last Twitter Space I went to, that's what I suggested to the founder and the creator in private after. I was like, dude, you had like 4 of us founders that are pretty respected in the space. Like just give us a shot at each to speak, because each one of us has a pretty decent ego, and each one of us is excited about the things that we want to do and what we're doing. If you're the creator, you should like moderate us, because I don't want to speak out of term, or like, for example, people were putting up their hands on the Twitter space, speak, and I was cutting them across because I had no idea. I wasn't even looking at my phone to see these things. So like after the fact, I was like, dude, like I wasn't trying to be rude to anyone. I just didn't know. So like if you said like the specific set of questions on, or guidance of what's happening, the length, who speaks when, if like we did for the stream, like, oh, Mike said I'm going to introduce this, then you can introduce yourself, and then we can kind of freeball from there. As long as directions, I think it's going to be way better. I think you guys like do that pretty well. It's pretty professional. It's pretty structured. I just like you guys anyway, so that's why I kind of keep coming back. But I think people would love seeing that structure just being everywhere, like constantly.
Yeah.
Because you know that if you see 3 big names on that Twitter space list, you're gonna hear 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. You're not gonna hear 50 minutes, like 40 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. You're gonna hear the value from everyone, and then at the end you can have another 15 minutes of everyone free for all like discussion.
Yep.
If you nail that, I mean, I would be there to listen potentially.
All right.
Because then you can actually learn from these things. Because usually it's just like people just talk to talk, right? They're just filling up space. But if it's a structured question that people kind of think about, then others can learn from each other. Otherwise, there's no point of the forum.
Maddie and I are experts at that. And this is the last question you need to answer. Stargirl on chat asks, what is the term for circle jerk when it's only females in the space?
Ooh.
Ooh.
We might be testing Twitch's algorithm here. I like this.
And I put this wig on because someone cashed in channel points. This is my alter ego, Cletus. I'll sign the stream off in Cletus's voice, but I'll talk regular until we end. Helle's about to get canceled. Come on, man. I would say it's a clam bake.
I googled it. I found the explanation on Reddit.
Man.
A clam. Clam chowder sounds disgusting. I say a clam bake off.
It was Lou that said it. It had to be Lou that said it. Jesus Christ.
It was Lou. All right, what did Google say?
No, it wasn't Google. It was Reddit, and then one of the first comments was no. The question was, what's the female equivalent of a circle jerk, where a bunch of gals tell each other about they tell each other what they want to hear, and then the second comment was a female bathroom on a night out, which kind of makes sense. A book club.
A book club. Or a clam bake. I'm gonna go with clam bake.
Yeah.
Well, dude, we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the time, man. I'm gonna let Maddie say some final words. I'm gonna say my final words. Star, I'll use the Cletus voice to say goodbye, and we'll call it a night, man. This has been amazing, like usual. Maddie, go ahead.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, dude. First of all, I love catching up to people that we've already talked to and gotten to know, and it's always fun because, when Mike and I are talking in the early part of the week and like, here's what's going on, here's the schedule. It's always fun because it's not somebody that we don't know. It's like we get to revisit and we get to catch up, and it's cool being able to see your apartment and just see. It's been really neat watching since Jolly Elves. Just watch this process, man, and it's cool, man. You're the CEO now, and it's really neat to see that growth. But to your point, man, it wasn't by accident, right? You took initiative, and what's wild to me, as an outside perspective, is you see people do this, especially during the bull run. People were taking initiative in Discord, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, fan art, and doing all these different things. But not only did you do that, that got you to the moderator position, but you kept doing that and it got you to the admin position, and you kept doing that and it got you to the co-founder position, and you kept doing it as a co-founder, and now you're the CEO. And I think that that's rare air, because many people will rest essentially on their merits at some point and be like, I've done what I need to do. And what excites me about this is it sounds like just in our brief conversation about what you want to do in the next 6 months. I mean, when Mikey asked you, what are you excited about? You immediately had answers, because you're in the process of still doing the very thing that got you to where you are today. And it sounds like that's just a byproduct of not only your upbringing and your core values, but also just your desire to see this space thrive. And I think it's cool, man. I think it's really cool. It's going to be fun to see this. I definitely want to chat with you more offline about some of the things you have going on and where Midlife Crisis fits in that. And yeah, I look forward to next time when we have you on the show again.
Oh yeah.
So nice, Maddie. Everything Maddie said. Helle, I think you're one of my OG boys. It's been awesome to get to know you, and I think like really what Matt said is that it's so cool to know and see you grow, see our show grow, and know, because we say this a lot, we just want to find people that we can win together with. And we're seeing that as a product right here. Our show has grown, you have grown, and we're just going to continue to win together and build friends. And I cannot wait, and I'm counting down the day to where I can just hug your sexy ass in real life, and we're going to have a blast.
Hell yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, man. I do love this. So yeah, let's talk offline as well.
Yeah.
Because when I have a bit more time to think about things, we can probably get better solutions for you guys.
Yeah. And so we're gonna cut this up. We're gonna send you some video, and we'll talk offline. We have a ton of ideas. And with that being said, I'm gonna bring out the cleanest voice. I'm a little redneck from Alabama, and I love beer. That is Busch Light. And I love guns, and I love camouflage, and I love hunting, and I fucking love America. And with that being said, I'm going to call it a good night. And we got Violetta. She is some crazy music person that's made like 500 plus ETH. I don't even know what an ETH is. It sounds like teeth, but I can't wait. We'll see you all on Thursday, Star Girl. I kind of hate